All right, so one of the cars that we're working on in the shop right now that we haven't introduced before is a 1970 Super B. A few years ago, was reached out to by the lady that owns it. She's the original owner. She had told me that her father had bought it for, I think it's a graduation gift when she was in high school. I had her send me pictures of the car, and I knew we were in trouble when I saw those pictures. It had been sitting in a makeshift barn kind of thing with cinder block foundation and plank flooring in it. So it wasn't a very good structure for it to rest in all those years. Well, eventually it fell down on it. And the only thing that was left was the car setting on this structure. It was real rusty, and this one wasn't well preserved. It was rotten inside and out. It had already been partially disassembled. And so those are the harder ones for us to do, that's for sure. Now, we ended up making a deal for the car to come out here and be restored. At the time, I had my own horrible old tow truck that we sent back there to pick it up. And actually, on the route to pick up that car, we grabbed the orange TA Challenger that is now the SEMA 22 car, which is kind of cool. Pictures are hard to tell much of anything. Like I say, I knew it was a mess when I did see the original pictures, but there's nothing quite like it when the car gets here and we're getting ready to disassemble it that you do your inventory. This car's rear frame rails, rear crossmember were so rotted out that the bumper fell off the car. It couldn't hold a bumper. Now, ironically, the finish panel, which is, they no longer produce that and they don't reproduce it, it was in pretty good shape. Taillights were actually there and in good shape too, but pretty much everything on the back of the car was rotted. One nice thing was that the original white C-stripes were on it and they weren't in terrible shape. I believe they had never been masked off before, so that led me to believe it most likely was an original paint car, or at least most of it was. But that's the end of the good news. After that, you've got quarter panels rotted from the roof section, upper deck filler panel, all the way down through the quarters, the trunk floor extensions, the trunk floor, everything on the back half of the car was rotted. The door shells were completely rotted out. The rockers were rotted out. All the floors were rotted out. The fenders were rotted out. The hood was rotted out. Everything. Now, what makes this really challenging is it's a 70 Coronet Super B. The fenders and the hoods are the ones that they use to make Superbirds out of. So anybody building a tribute Superbird would want good money for those fenders and for that hood. So we had to go on the hunt immediately to find good, tasty donor pieces so we could put that car back together. So this is not an N96 Ram Charger. This is not. This is a standard bulge hood, which has two little scoops or scallops in it and calls out Super B on the side of it. Real nice looking hood, but not the most highly option of the hoods that you could have had. So these cars that have original vinyl tops like this one, usually the top is destroyed. That's okay. We replace them, we get brand new ones from our friends at Classic, no problem. It's the roof underneath it that was rotted on this one. So it ended up needing a roof skin. The front and the back glass channels were also rotted on it. However, all these bad things I'm saying about the car, it is a beautiful combination originally. I would have loved to have seen it new. Plum crazy, white top, white interior, white C-stripe. Be really gorgeous. It's just too bad to see it like this. On the interior, the only thing that was even presentable was the dash assembly and the headliner, which of course they're out of kind of the way of things, so they will tend to survive sometimes. It is a Super B, so it gets the wood grain Rally instrument cluster, and that's all in pretty good shape and intact. It's really not a highly optioned car on the inside. White bucket seat buddy seat, which is the fold down armrest in the middle, automatic on the column, but it is an air conditioning car, so that's a good thing. So when I wiped off the odometer area of the dash, I could see that it had 72,000 original miles on it. So that just tells you that whenever that car was parked, which I have a feeling was in the late 70s, perhaps early 80s, it had been driven 72,000 miles by that time. But that was the last it was on the road before you see it like this.